What is up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your fucking host, the Hot Commodity NC, joined by my good friend. Introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Kris. Kris. What's up? Here to talk some AEW World's End. I talked about this briefly a couple of weeks ago after the show. But I'm excited to talk about it with you because I know, you don't watch AEW as much. So this is good.
Yeah, we'll have more of I sort of just I don't really know like the background to the matches. I'm just watching them like when they're like on the pay-per-view.
I got it. Yeah, that's how a lot of people are watching it.
So I might have like a different
Better than their weekly shows.
yeah, like I might have a different take on like a match and maybe like the story leading up to it wasn't so good. But yeah, so I'll just be talking about the matches and you might be able to have more of something just I didn't put on that. But yes, we are covering All Elite Wrestling Worlds End 2024. They were live in Orlando, Florida. This is the last AEW pay-per-view of 2024, of course, and we're in 2025 now. Can't believe we were just talking about that before we went on air that we've already made it to Netflix Raw, so that's exciting, and we'll be giving a preview of that
Tonight.
tonight. Everyone should be watching tonight, and if you're not, shame, fucking shame on you. And if you're not watching, then you at least have to be having a good lay or something, because that's the only reason why you should be missing Raw tonight if you're a wrestling fan.
There's no way, dude. Even there's my buddies that haven't watched wrestling since they were probably like 12 years old are watching it.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be. I hope. I just hope that we don't get any. I hope it's gonna be as good as we think it's going to be. But what I will say is we will be doing a preview of that later on. But today, right now, well, I mean later on is today. We're gonna be covering Raw too, the preview. But for right now, we're covering AEW. And the first match for this pay-per-view is the semifinals. We have the two semifinal matches for the Continental Classic to open the pay-per-view. Will Ospreay taking on Kyle Fletcher with Don Callis. This is a rematch from Full Gear. And I was excited to see these guys fight again. I enjoyed their match at the last pay-per-view, and I'm a really big Ospreay fan. And Kyle Fletcher actually did some really good work with Ospreay at last pay-per-view, and I think they work well together in the ring. The match starts with a stalemate between the two. Fletcher lands a big boot, a power bomb to Will Ospreay onto the apron. Ospreay bleeds and then gets slammed into the ring steps. Fletcher then decides to lick Ospreay's blood, which was kind of gross, kind of get cause a disease, but I think Ospreay's clean. Ospreay hits a clothesline and then darts Kyle Fletcher into the ring post and lands a standing sky twister for a 2. Ospreay then hits a stun gun stunner, a Spanish fly for a 2. Ospreay then lands an ox cutter and a poison rana. They are both on the mat, and Fletcher and Ospreay start to headbutt one another. Ospreay lands the hidden blade for a 2. Fletcher lands a sit out power bomb for a 2 count. And the end comes when Ospreay hits a Styles Clash. Ospreay defeats Fletcher. Now, they both have a win apiece, right? Fletcher beat Ospreay at Full Gear. Ospreay beats him at World's End. I enjoyed this match. I feel like it kept the fans on their feet. It was a good opening match because, it wasn't like a Julia Hart versus fucking I don't know, that Diamante type stupid fucking match. Sometimes in pay-per-views they put the matches that not a lot of people are looking forward to at the beginning. But this was a very good opening match, and it got me excited to see the next semifinal match. What'd you think of the match and Ospreay winning here?
Yeah, I thought the match was good. Yeah, this is a good way to start a pay-per-view like this, especially with especially with what happened throughout the show. There were things that were better. I didn't like Ospreay fighting in 2 nights, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a good match. I'm actually surprised. Uh, Will Ospreay just hit a solid clash, and there wasn't a kick out or anything extra like that. So that caught my eye a little bit, but. Ospreay sold the injury, so it was a good match. I thought this was better than their first match at Full Gear. So
Yeah, I did agree. I think it was better. And this match kind of, I felt that way about the finals of the Continental Classic with the ending, how it was just kind of like
yeah, I didn't,
Rainmaker done, you know. But we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, decent opening match. Um, wasn't Osprey's best, I don't think, but it also wasn't his worst. Moving right along, we have our second semifinal match. Ricochet taking on the Continental Champion Okada, and Ricochet is clearly getting booed by all these fans here. Clearly, his posts on Twitter have not been making the fans happy. They think he's
say.
trash, and his in ring work is good, but he really hasn't done anything since like 2017, in my opinion. So we see
I
Ricochet land a drop kick. Okada hits a big boot. Ricochet dives onto Okada on the floor and lands a springboard clothesline for a two. Uh, Okada lands a neck breaker onto his knee to Ricochet. Ricochet lands a sit out tombstone for a two count and then a shooting star press by another two. Okada lands a spinning power slam, hits the Rainmaker, and Okada defeats Ricochet. But I feel like more important than that is the outcome, the aftermath of this match. Someone throws like a toilet paper into the ring, and then Swerve Strickland comes out. Swerve says, "Congratulations for you making it as far as I did in the classic. You said you were going to win the classic tonight. I said if you blew it, I was going to embarrass you big. You run your mouth. You said if it wasn't."
1 second, Ant.
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, that's all right. He says, where am I? Right here. He says, "You've run your mouth. You said if it wasn't for AEW, if it wasn't for you, AEW wouldn't exist. I have to clean up your messes." And then Nana brings out a cart full of toilet paper, hands them out to the fans at ringside, and the fans tosses a bunch of the toilet papers in the ring on top of Ricochet. One of the toilet paper like rolls lands right on his neck, and Ricochet just standing there looking like a fool. Clearly, we're 2 weeks behind, so we know like what happens. Ricochet ends up like destroying Swerve Strickland on Dynamite. But
No way they closed Chick-fil-A over some fucking bullshit Little Snow.
Chick-fil-A is closed.
Because of some fucking bullshit Little Snow.
You know what? Fuck Chick-fil-A, man. We will never sponsor. Well, I don't want to be sponsored by Chick-fil-A.
I'm getting Wendy's. But no, Ospreay and Okada, it was a good match. I don't like Ricochet. I think he's a fucking he's so annoying. Um he's a good wrestler. I like his style of work, but he and this is all just to get a reaction from the Twitter trolls like him and Samantha, then it works. I mean, I see a lot of people really get pissed off at him. It's just I don't care. It's just the shit he says is weird. Um, but I don't think it's really him. I think it's just a character. I think he's feeding off that shit from Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
totally.
it was a good match. I do think they made Ricochet kind of look stupid. This all better work out for the better for him because I wouldn't want to go to another company just to get toilet paper thrown at me.
I was
And
just about to say
if that's going to be his gimmick, then
that's what I was
he
just about.
stayed in WWE.
There's a way to make your heel look stupid, but then there's a way to bury your heel, and I feel like they kind of
You
bury
can
him.
get
But
toilet paper thrown on you for the rest of your run there, or you could have been on fucking Netflix inside of the new Los Angeles Stadium for the premiere of Netflix. But
there you go.
I want to. Same thing with your fucking wife. She could have been announcing tonight the biggest event in probably the history of this fucking business, but they want to be selfish and attack people on Twitter instead of doing a
Mm-hmm.
job that anybody. Yeah, I
Choices.
love Samantha. I used to. We actually like talked a little bit at a live show because she was really interactive with the fans during
Mm-hmm.
commercial breaks and before shows. But her Ricochet leaving AEW just turned her into a complete bitch. If I'm being completely honest, that's just how I feel about it. Same thing with Ricochet. They think they're on top of the world.
Wow. Choices,
And Tony
man.
Khan's probably paying him a fucking retarded ass.
Oh yeah, to just sit there and have that happen to you, yeah. But we'll see. I mean, he did fuck up Swerve Strickland on Dynamite, so
Oh my
maybe
god, yeah.
they're going to lead something there. But next up we have the AEW Women's Champion Mariah May defending against Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. Mariah May gets in Thunder Rosa's dad's face, and then Rosa dives onto Mariah. Mariah lands a running knee. Mariah lands a DDT to Rosa on the ramp for a 2 count. Mariah then spits tequila in Mariah's face, and then Rosa spears Mariah through the board on the ramp for a 2. Rosa smashes a bottle onto Mariah. Mariah chokes Rosa in the throat with a chair. Um, Rosa breaks the pinata filled with tacks onto the mat. Mariah hits Mayday on top of the tacks to Rosa for a 2 count. Mariah takes Rosa's dad's cane and mocks him. She wraps barbed wire around her knee and accidentally runs into the ring steps. Rosa hits Mariah with the cane and lands a running dropkick on the floor for a 2 count. Mariah tosses dirt into Rosa's eyes, and Mariah lands a pile driver off the apron and through a table on the floor. Mariah May retains the AEW Women's Championship. We kind of knew Mariah was going to win this. They had a good match, um,
This was
but
this was not a good match. I'm sorry. I disagree. This match sucked. What 1 second, man. This match sucked. Um, this match sucked. Why are they calling it a Tijuana Street Fight in Orlando? And you're in Orlando, Florida. Um,
the dirt, they brought the
I,
dirt all the way from Tijuana, Mexico,
I don't like it. I don't. I thought the match was sloppy. AEW loves to put on these sloppy, hardcore women's matches. They're not good, especially Thunder Rosa. Um, I just I don't I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of this. This was sloppy. This was kind of all over the place. We knew Mariah May was going to win it. Mariah May does not work this type of style matches. So
Well, that's why I enjoyed it because it was something different with her at least.
yeah.
I don't think, she did great. Um, I like Thunder Rosa for some reason. I don't think she's a great wrestler.
Oh, I like her too. I liked her like before she got hurt.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. It's kind of hard when you do a gimmicky match, like when they did the mimosa match or they did the like fucking way back in the beginning, the Cracker Barrel brawl. Like sometimes when they
Yeah.
have these, the pinata was a little stupid, it was just I don't know, it's kind of counterintuitive. I didn't think it was horrible, um, but it kind of felt misplaced being on this show. Kind of like you said, they're in Orlando, Florida. Why don't they make it a Disney World? What I'm
Right.
saying?
Like, come on.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Moving on, we have the Dynamite ring on the line. MJF against Adam Cole. This match has been months in the making. MJF slams Adam Cole into the ring steps, and Cole automatically starts to bleed. MJF bites Adam Cole's forehead and then jumps into a super kick. Adam Cole hits a backstabber, brainbuster over his knee for a 2. MJF rams Adam Cole's leg into the ring post. Cole pulls MJF into the post, and MJF starts to bleed. Cole hits a Panama Sunrise, lands the boom for a 2 count. MJF applies a figure 4. And then MJF basically hits his hands on the ring steps. The ref thinks it's the Undisputed Kingdom that does it and kicks them out. MJF hits a low blow and then lands the Heat Seeker. And MJF is still has that Dynamite
That
does
pointless ass diamond ring. And I
it.
love MJF, but that shit's so
So
pointless.
stupid. He's had it for like 4 fucking years. After MJF says he's gonna break Adam Cole's fucking leg, that's when Roderick Strong returns and the Undisputed Kingdom makes MJF leave the ring.
Boring. Undisputed Kingdom's babyface in this match was nowhere as good as their all-in main event. Next.
Yeah, I agree. They're really it was good, but something was lacking. I think it was because they were fighting for that stupid ring. Nobody cares. There was no. It would be like fighting for like fucking long Zack Ryder's internet. Remember when he had like the internet title or something? What the fuck it was? It's like
Yeah.
nobody wants that shit. But yeah, I kind of Okay, moving on. The AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita with Don Callis defends against Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs lands a running tackle to Takeshita to start. Takeshita slams Hobbs' knees across the ring post. Hobbs clothesline Takeshita in the corner. Takeshita hits an inverted driver for a two. Hobbs hits a spinning power slam, a clothesline for a two count. Hobbs hits a spine buster for a two and then lands a super power slam. But Takeshita applies the guillotine and hits a raging fire, and Takeshita retains. I'm saying his name wrong. How do you say his last name?
Takechna.
Takeshna?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Takeshna retains. What do you think?
Good match. I like both these guys. These guys are criminally underrated. They need to be booked better. But I enjoyed it. These guys are
Powerhouse Hobbs looked a little bit different.
these
And
guys need to be booked better.
yeah, Takeshna can friggin' kill it. Like he has some really good matches. This one I wasn't looking forward to because Powerhouse Hobbs kind of just reminds me of like Miro. Like he kind of just big
Okay.
and they don't really push those guys. I think he's great, but you know, I don't think Powerhouse Hobbs will ever be a AEW World Champion, in my opinion.
I
But
agree.
he's still a good wrestler and still a decent match. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we have the AEW TBS Championship to talk about, the finals of the AEW Continental Classic, and that four-way main event for the AEW title, with a special surprise return from one of my favorite wrestlers. But I don't like how they changed his name. That's really stupid.
That shit's so stupid.
So fucking dumb. Cope. We will be right back with the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast here. This is Ant. Christian and I were in the process of filming, and then, like the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, things happened and we weren't able to finish this recording. So I will be finished it. Don't worry, everything is great with Christian. He's actually recording on the Sports Jedi Network as I'm doing this, so he's doing good. I just wanted to get this recording done as I'm 2 weeks past it. But you guys are big AEW fans, so I didn't want to miss out on the coverage of World's End. So the next match we're going to be covering is for the AEW TBS Championship. The AEW TBS champion Mercedes Moné defending against Kris Statlander. This is a rematch from AEW Full Gear last month in November. And this is a very decent match. A lot of back and forth action here. One of the craziest moments was seeing the crazy moment where Mercedes Moné hits a tombstone to Kris Statlander on the apron, which like very brutal, very intense. Monet applies a crossface into an STF. Statlander hits a Saturday Night Special, but Monet rolls through and locks in an ankle lock. Finally, Monet is able to lock in the seat belt ankle lock and with a leg trap and then rolls up Kris Statlander. And Mercedes Moné retains the AEW TBS Championship. These two have great chemistry together, a decent match. It was very fast paced from beginning to end. I'm a big Kris Statlander fan, but I did feel like their Full Gear match was a lot better than this one. Not by a huge amount, but I just felt like because it was new, there wasn't a lot of expectations. You expect a lot in a rematch, and I don't feel like it really rose to those expectations for me. But decent match, good showing here by both women. And I'm excited to see who will take off that TBS title from Mercedes Moné. Next up, we have the AEW Continental Classics finals. The AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada defending against Will Ospreay. And this was a great match between the two. I was surprised with how short it was. I felt like it could have been a lot longer based on their different bouts in New Japan Pro Wrestling and other places, but it was a decent match here. We see Okada land an air raid crash neck breaker. Osprey hits a Styles Clash for a two. Headbutt by Will Osprey. Okada lands a German suplex. Osprey hits a rainmaker and a stormbreaker, but Okada kicks out.
Okada hits a rainmaker. Both guys are down. Ospreay eats a clothesline and then a Stormbreaker for another 2 count. But Okada holds onto the wrist and hits a rainmaker 3 count, and Okada retains the AEW Continental Championship. Here is the thing. Uh, Okada has been great so far in AEW, but I feel like we need to see more competition, more stuff. I also didn't like the way this match ended. I felt like with the numerous kickouts attempts from both men, they could have done a couple more minutes. But the most important moment is what happens after the match. Christopher Daniels comes out and he congratulates Okada on the victory. Daniels says that as of today, he's no longer an EVP for All Elite Wrestling, but this man is, and it ends up being Kenny Omega. He returns. He takes the Continental Championship, puts it to Okada, and will Omega and Okada compete? These guys have had some of the best matches ever in the history of professional wrestling. So to see these guys face off, it was really interesting. And I'm wondering what Omega is going to do now that he is back. And we've made it to our main event here, the AEW Championship Fatal 4-Way. AEW Champion Jon Moxley with Marina Shafir defending against Orange Cassidy, Hangman Adam Page, and Switchblade Jay White. Initially, Jon Moxley lets the 3 men brawl until they all attack him. Eventually, Wheeler Yuta comes out and breaks up the pinfall attempt after Jay White hits Moxley with the Blade Runner. Marina Shafir gets in the ring, but Jay White hits her with the Blade Runner. But then Yuta hits a Psycho knee, and Jon Moxley hits a Death Rider Jay White, and Jon Moxley retains the AEW title. After the match, Wheeler Yuta attacks Jay White, and Claudio brings a chair into the ring. FTR come out to the ramp. Huge pop. The lights go out. Rated R. Adam Copeland is back. They FTR and Adam Copeland attack the Death Riders. Copeland applies a crossface with a piece of chair in the mouth of Jon Moxley. Copeland called Moxley kid and tells him that he was growing pubes when Copeland was winning titles. This Wednesday, a fight for them fallen Moxley and his crew against Rated FTR. So Adam Copeland is back. It looks like Rated FTR is going to be the ones to step up to the Death Riders. Will they be able to defend AEW? We will have to find out. Great showing here tonight, a great pay-per-view, a lot of good action. Every match was action packed. I really enjoy this. I enjoy when the Young Bucks are not here in AEW, in my honest opinion. But with that, we've covered all of AEW World's End. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcast. We are worldwide. Just search the Uncensored Crossing Podcast. Leave a message in the comments. What did you think of World's End? What are you looking for in 2025 for AEW? And let me know what you think of this show in general. With that, stay safe and stay uncensored.